This is Stefan Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com. We're over here in Howe Hall at Iowa State University. This is the engineering college. This is the virtual reality center. Little airplane model here behind me. This is a very high-tech place where a lot of interesting and really futuristic things happen. Speaking of futuristic things, we had planned to have the Iowa caucuses in February of 2012, but that has all been turned upside down. First, Florida decided that they were going to have their primary early, and then South Carolina and Nevada decided that they want to move up their caucus in Nevada and primary in South Carolina. And of course, you know that Iowa is supposed to be first in the nation, first caucus, and a week later, New Hampshire is supposed to be the first in the nation primary. So Iowa, New Hampshire, and then other states, that's the rule, that's the way the Democratic and Republican national committees have set up the sequence of caucuses and primaries to select a presidential candidate. States are anxious to cut in front of Iowa and New Hampshire to get extra publicity, and that creates a real serious logistical problem. My friend, the Secretary of State of New Hampshire, has decided that he is not going to stand for it. He insists that Iowa and New Hampshire be first and second. And so Bill Gardner, who is a tough and really wonderful New England Yankee, has made a threat to Nevada and said, look, if you move your caucus up into January, I am going to move the New Hampshire primary into December of 2011. That, of course, would mean that Iowa would need to move its caucuses more or less a week before whatever date Bill Gardner chooses for the New Hampshire primary. You can see that there is a game of chicken, a game of staring down other states going on, and Bill Gardner has done this before. I've spent a delightful hour with him in Concord, New Hampshire in his office, which is sort of a historic monument to primaries and caucuses. He's been Secretary of State of New Hampshire almost forever. And I think of him as the prince of primaries. He is the man who believes that this historic process of Iowa first, New Hampshire second is an important political tradition that has worked really well, that gives the candidates a chance to compete in smaller states like Iowa and New Hampshire and have people get to know them, gives them a chance to raise some money, and he is defending the order of things. However, this year, if we have in fact a caucus in December of 2011, it means that candidates running in the Republican primaries and caucuses are going to have to completely change their game plan because they were planning on essentially competing in February of 2012, not December of 2011. So this means the ones who have a clear campaign theme, who have a good campaign organization for the primaries and caucuses, who have already a substantial war chest and have collected a lot of money for their campaign, those are the candidates that are best prepared for a very, very early caucus and a very early New Hampshire primary. That certainly cuts the Republican field down because some of the contenders don't have those things in place. Some of them have just begun to get momentum, while others have had a steady and pretty clear idea of how they want to run things. So the 2011 or 12 caucuses and primaries are going to be very different, and they're probably going to come a lot quicker than we expected. In particular, Bill Gardner, my friend, the Secretary of State of New Hampshire, has basically threatened Nevada and said, you just can't have your primary that early. And in fact, what's interesting is a lot of the candidates have already come out and said that they would not compete in Nevada. They have said, we are going to honor the Iowa first, New Hampshire second schedule, and we just won't compete in Nevada. If that happens with more of the candidates, the Nevada caucuses, even if they're held early, will be meaningless because they will be caucuses with just some of the candidates participating, and therefore they will be more or less null and void. Interesting developments in the caucuses and primaries. Keep an eye on it. We'll keep you up to date. This is Stefan Schmidt at the Virtual Reality Center, Iowa State University for InsiderIowa.com.